everybody. Welcome to Floor Popcorn. I am Caleb.
And I'm Roland the Snake.
Are you guys ready for some next level opinions?
You're just going to let that go by? You're the one holding the snake, and you let me call myself the snake?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, Caleb's holding a snake. I think that's super important for everybody to know.
I am holding a snake, and she's going to be here this entire episode. I don't know for sure if she's a girl, but I've been calling her a girl. Her name's Noodle. I found her in front of my house yesterday, and she is now my best friend.
Yeah, but he's been holding her the whole time. He keeps getting distracted. He's not giving his full attention to the people right now, and it's kind of upsetting me.
Well, that's because I have a snake.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you have a snake?
Nope.
Well,
nope.
Yeah, well, this is my reasoning then.
Okay, that's fair. All right. So
what are we discussing today, Roland?
Today, we are going to be doing The Joker, a movie that came out in 2019 this year. And if you guys are new to this, or if you haven't heard our first podcast,
I think everyone's pretty much new to this.
Yeah. What we do here is Caleb and I are both really into movies. Caleb actually even has a horror podcast that he does with his friend Bree.
Horror Soup.
It's called Horror Soup. Yeah, I was getting to that. And so we both like watching movies, and we know you guys don't have the time to get deep into the movie. So here we are to give you insight to some of the better movies that have come out this year and years of the past.
Yes.
And also what we do here is we decide to take sides. So you get both sides of the coin, wink, wink.
Yes.
That we flip a coin, and the loser of the coin flip, or winner, depending on the movie, I guess, has to either defend or attack the movie. And the first one we did was Donnie Darko. It was a pretty movie that was close to home to me and Caleb.
Yes.
And once again, this movie, we neither one of us want to lose this coin flip. It was a movie that we saw in theaters and we both enjoyed.
Yes.
And you have anything to say, Caleb?
Yes.
Okay, and so we saw it in theaters, and we actually, while we were watching it in theaters, there's a few parts of the movie The Joker that we were laughing, and nobody else in the audience seemed to have the same enthusiasm that we had for the part. So we'll probably go into that as we're watching the movie. But yeah, let's get this started. I want to go ahead and get us picked aside before we start reading facts, so we can start taking sides, hopefully. So today's coin, what coin you got for us today, Caleb?
This is the double-sided snake coin. One side is a snake, and the other side is the snake eating itself.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. This is the ancient Greek coin. I see that.
Yeah.
So we got the snake eating itself on this side, which would be tails.
We have Cleopatra and Medusa.
Okay. Just describe the coin and flip it, bitch. Okay, so here we're going. This will be heads. The snake not eating itself, and the snake eating itself will be tails. Hence.
All right, so I'm gonna flip this coin. Here's my flip.
You suck. That means I have to again attack this stupid movie.
So it looks like this is the terrible movie that Roland has to crap on.
Crap. I wasn't okay. All right, I got this.
I think I'm on the good side of this. Allegedly.
The second time we watched it, I was like trying to come up with stuff to talk shit on. So hopefully, I got a couple things in my pocket.
Yeah. Hopefully, you got something. My snake is in my boom arm.
Dude, it's gonna get stuck in there. Snake stuck. Sneaky snake stuck.
She's hanging out.
Okay.
She's hanging out. So, the budget for this movie was about $55 million. The box office came in. It was about 300 something million at first. Then went up to that, and then
wow, it's no end game.
Is that what you have to say about this?
Yeah, dude. What did Endgame pulling three? DC still just can't hold a candle to Marvel, I guess. Still trying hard, but they'll never be that box office hit that Marvel is.
Hey man, Endgame sucked. I mean, it was cool. It wasn't any Joker.
Well, I'll
give you that.
Yeah.
Was Joaquin Phoenix in it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's one of those.
Oh, he was Black Panther.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So anyway, we what's the cast in this? We have Robert De Niro.
Yeah, old Bert De Niro.
We have old lady chick, Frances Conroy. She's in like American Horror Story and just a bunch of other random shit. Always just playing a little old lady.
Yep, you'll recognize her.
She's
been an old lady for like.
She's been an old lady for like 40 years.
Yeah, her whole movie career.
It's really weird. I don't think she's ever aged.
Nope.
At all.
Nope. Forward or backwards.
That's fun. Oh, and also, guys, we're doing a drink thing too. We fell asleep while we were drinking some Bloody Mary Michelada contraptions last night because we got very drunk and we fell asleep when we were supposed to record this. So,
Yep.
Here we are now. We're not drinking. I'm drinking a smoothie. Roland's drinking black coffee.
And Ashton Modelo's.
Yeah,
Whoops.
that's perfect. I did ash on the Modelo. So anyway, let's get into this fucking beautiful masterpiece. So we start out with pre-Joker painting his face. We see that he's actually
What year is it supposed to be? Like 81? Right? I'm pretty sure, though. I'm being honest. Like, right? It's supposed to be 81?
I have no fucking clue.
Okay, boomer.
Is that the bit you were going for?
Yes.
Is this what you were going for this
Yes.
entire time? Okay.
Yes.
So he's just a man. He's a very, very powerful man, very smart man.
What are you talking about? He's just spinning a sign, you asshole.
Oh, yeah.
He's just spinning a sign.
Okay, let me tell you something. All of the
17-year-olds with earpods
no,
could fucking spin a sign, dude.
All of the greats start out spinning signs. You think fucking God?
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's where
God,
Biggie got his start. Is
Yeah,
like spinning
exactly.
signs and rapping freestyles.
You
on the
think
streets
God
of Brooklyn.
just started out like floating in the air? No, he was spinning a fucking sign,
I don't think that's how that happened.
and then he decided to make the planet.
Oh yeah, and get beat up by a bunch of street kids, by a bunch of newsies, huh?
This is the story of God. So if you want to shit on God, then okay,
you
that's
took
fine.
this way
That's
left
fine.
field. That is not the story.
I don't know. That's fine. So anyway, some complete degenerates come up and take his sign. They're the worst people in the movie, and the chase pursues while the Joker makes an absolute fool out of himself before
Which he
getting the
runs
absolute
like an
shit beat out of
idiot,
him.
and then I thought it was just because the
He does
clown
not.
suit. I thought it was just the clown suit shoes that made him run like a goofy nut. But it turns out he just runs. I think that's how Walking Phoenix actually runs.
No, he ran with power and grace. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He looked like a man who needed to get somewhere, a man who needed to get his shit together. He's doing great. So we now see him uncontrollably laughing, sitting in a room. We assume he's alone for a second, but then we see that there's a woman in front of him sitting kind of awkwardly, and she asks Arthur if he has been keeping up on his journal and asks to see it. And we see a quote in his journal that says, "I hope my death makes more sense than my life." Really good bit, really funny, really clever. It says sense as in CENTS, so
That's not even a joke.
Oh, it's a joke.
That's
It's a
not even
joke.
a joke.
Yeah. And as well as a bunch of other random scribblings that have to do with like the end of the movie. It's a lot of foreshadowing to the end of the movie.
This
shows,
movie could have easily been just a movie about mental health. They didn't even have to call it the Joker. It was like it's just like I feel like they just used the IP to suck people in to watch this movie. Like it really could have just been about like the decline of mental health, and they could have had all the same stuff happen, and they could even put clown makeup on the motherfucker. But like people, and then you could even alluded like, ooh, maybe that was like a Joker-esque movie instead of like having to suck everybody in by calling it like a DC entity.
Look, man, we already saw it chapter 2. We don't need a repeat, so you're just being an asshole at this point.
That's what I know. Is that what we're doing now? Is movies on mental health? That's why we started with Donnie Darko and we're doing Joker now. Like,
yeah, and we're doing Mac and Me next, so perfect.
Actually, yeah.
So she asks how he feels now and states that he felt much better when he was in the hospital. She asks if he remembers why he was in the hospital, and we cut to a scene of him slamming his head on the wall in the mental hospital, which is really fucking cool because it shows really just how fucked up this guy is, how he's not getting help. He's out in the fucking world now, and he's probably still dealing with all of his past traumas that he was in the hospital. But he is not getting the care he needs anymore, and this is a big metaphor to just fucking... Honestly, I was going to say the world, but it's more of an America issue. It's not really...
Okay, boomer. No, yeah, it's
Point Caleb.
It's well done. It's well
Point Caleb for Roland's
it's-
redundancy.
It's well shot. Everything up to this point is as you complete enthralled, you're watching Joaquin Phoenix really transform. I mean, but there's never been a tie-in with like the Joker being crazy skinny or being beat. Like that's the whole problem with this movie is there's not a Joker origin story. That's kind of what makes Joker so badass. Like, I mean, one of the coolest, I guess, Joker origin stories has the Joker being like like an unkillable entity in the world. Like, and it's like the Joker will always come back in a different form or in the same form. And it doesn't really have there's a few like different backstories. Just like in that's why everybody likes Batman's what is it? I can't think of Batman.
The Killing Joke?
Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. That's why everybody likes Heath Ledger's Joker.
You look like you were like sounding out The Killing Joke, so I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's why everybody likes Heath Ledger so much more than this one because, you don't know where the Joker is. He gives you like 3 or 4 different stories.
I don't know
if
if everyone likes Heath Ledger's Joker more than this one.
Oh yeah, everyone does. I asked.
No, you asked everyone?
Yes, I asked everyone.
You asked everyone.
Yes, I'm not going to do poor podcasting. I'm going to do my research first. Yes, everyone likes it more.
Okay, well, I guess point Roland for this one.
Yeah, that's it though.
So anyway,
tie game.
He asked to have his medication raised, and she says, "Arthur, you're on 7 different medications. Like, surely they must be doing something." And he says, "I just want to feel something." And we move over the scene. He's now on the bus, and he is amusing this little kid in front of him before the mother of this child gets really fucking pissed off and tells him to piss off. He starts laughing really uncontrollably because, as we know, this is part of his disease. When he feels uncomfortable, he can't really control himself.
Yeah, he gives her a card that's laminated, and it's obviously folded in half. So this is obviously a card he's given to people and gotten back.
And she doesn't give it back.
She doesn't give it back. I was really bugged by that. Like, come on, dude. Like,
that was a bitch move.
And why are you gonna keep this card? Like, so you can give it to somebody else? Like, it's obviously a card that you need to give back, and she kept it. So point Roland for rude bus people.
Actually, in the director's cut, she gives it back to him. So point Caleb.
That's not true. The director's not out yet. You're just lying now, dude. This is not what the people asked for.
No, yeah, I talked to the director. The people asked me to speak to the director. I was like, "Hey, how was filming Hangover?" He was like, "Oh yeah, pretty cool." And I was like, "Well, did the lady give the card back to the Joker?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Well, forgive me for misspeaking then.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
No point awarded though.
Point awarded.
No points.
So anyway, he that's pretty much it. He heads home and he watches his favorite talk show, Maury Franklin, with his mother. And Maury Franklin is played by Robert De Niro. And it moves over and we see Arthur actually at Maury Live. And it's very, very real, definitely happening. And he tells him that he loves him, and he gets called up, and he's like, "Arthur, I would give anything to have a son like you," because obviously the Joker is the greatest person in the world.
So this is the first of many like dream-esque or surreal sequences that happened throughout this movie that were done.
This happened.
Very, very, cheap. It's a cheap tactic you can do in any movie. You can really subvert audience expectation just by throwing a scene in there and then right away at the end of it saying, "Oh, it was just a dream sequence." You don't have to remember that. There's plenty of movies out there that already use this hacky trick. So
name one.
Ice Cream Truck.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
The ending of the Ice Cream Truck Killer, man.
No.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't apply.
Same thing. Dream sequence. The end of Dallas, where they wake up and it was all a dream.
Cool. So he's now at work, and he shows off the grossest back in the entire world. But I will say that I really give him props for...
The end of Roseanne season 1, where Dan's dead, and it was a heart attack, but like she thought she won the lottery.
I really do give him props for really stepping into his character for this role and really making it a point to look as gross as fucking possible. It's kind of like the Christian Bale thing in that one movie. What was that fucking movie called? Where he got
The Machinist, but it was unnecessary. Yeah. Like, you didn't need to do all that to your body. Like, come on, dude. Like, just wear a cool suit, and be the Joker. You don't gotta do all that malnutrition and whatnot.
I completely disagree. I feel like this really shows how fucking batshit and off the fucking rails this guy is.
That's the real mental health problem, is the fact that Joaquin Phoenix is damaging his body for some silly movie award. I mean, come on, dude.
Some silly movie that is just about at $1 billion worldwide.
But not $1 billion. No Endgame.
That's all just hype, man. That's all just hype. No one even cares about Endgame. No one. So anyway,
I'm just letting you make everybody mad. I'm letting you dig your own hole right here, man. I'm winning.
So his coworker tells him that he knows about what happened with the kids and gives him a gun. And his boss calls him in and tells him that if he doesn't return the sign, it's going to have to come out of his paycheck. And he's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" Like, he starts smiling. He's like, "I literally got jumped. Like, why would I have to pay for this?" He's like, "Oh, well, rules is rules." And he smiles and smiles and smiles until the conversation pretty much ends. And the next shot we see is him beating the shit out of a trash bag until he falls over.
I was really hoping it was going to be like a homeless dude. He was just like kicking the shit out. He like snapped that early in the movie that he actually was like kicking the crap out of some, which it looked like, but it was just some trash he ended up jumping on. So like a waste of a scene. They could have made that way more intense, more Joker-esque. Caleb Snake's crawling inside of his computer.
Yeah, it's not going very good right now. She's going in places that she shouldn't go into.
This is why nobody on the internet wanted you to keep her. They knew this exact thing was going to happen. Is she inside the computer?
Yes, she is inside of the computer right now.
You just turned her into data. She's gonna turn into data. She's gonna turn into data. Oh, dude, you gotta get your snake out of the computer, dude.
Dude, she's going farther in.
You can't let the snake go in the computer. So.
All right, guys. So the issue has been solved. My snake is out of the computer. She just kind of wanted to hang out a little bit.
She just didn't want to hear this podcast anymore.
Yeah,
She's
probably
tired of hearing you talk about this. Once again, another failed DC movie.
Oh my god. So anyway, yeah, gross back, all that fun stuff. Money out of his paycheck, smiles, blah blah blah. We see his first interaction with a cute girl in the building who makes a playful suicide joke because her daughter is being irritating. He responds with a smirk, which is perfectly fine. But then he goes a little bit too far in his joke, and he dances around in his apartment with his gun, and he shoots one off in the building. And him going too far with the joke was him like blowing his brains out as a gesture.
Yeah,
fun little gesture.
It's just a really weird scene when he's dancing around with a gun in the apartment because he's like I really want to know what little episode he's having because he's dancing and he imagines somebody coming up to him complimenting his goofy dancing, being like, "Oh, you're a good dancer," and his response is, "You know who isn't a good dancer? Him." And as he points the gun over there, like he pretends to shoot it, but it's actually loaded, and he ends up shooting. I'm like, what is he imagining happening here? Like he's at a club and some dude's like complimenting his dancing, he just shoots some rando for no reason.
No, that was the Fonz that complimented his dancing.
Okay, so that's a big compliment.
Fonz.
Okay,
yeah. The person he shot, I'm gonna have to go with Al Bundy.
Al Bundy, that doesn't make any sense. Once again, not nonsense. So,
are you sure?
Yeah, it's yeah. You have mental illness too, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that actually is true. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on right now. He kind of freaks out and he's just like, oh shit, he turns the volume up real fast. Very, very quick on his feet to come up with a little plan. His mom's like, hey, what's going on over there? He's like, watching a war movie.
It's like obviously not. It's just like some like game show in the background you can still hear. That's obviously not a war movie.
No. He's quick on his feet and you cannot convince me otherwise. Arthur heads over to a comedy show and he laughs at incredibly awkward times. He was also following that one girl at this point, right?
Yeah, Zazie Beetz. Yeah, he was following her to her work, which she works at a bank, maybe, or some sort of office or something. I don't know. I think it's a bank.
This is a true love story. I mean,
just creeping around.
No, it's the Dahmer-Dobler effect. If you're not like, if you don't feel a threat by it, it's a good thing. It's very cute.
And why don't we talk about how I'm so tired of people saying like, oh, they perfectly portrayed like the way the New York looked in the 80s. I'm like, what the fuck are you? This is a fictional. This is Gotham City. This isn't New York or Chicago. Like this is This is not. They're not trying to portray. Nobody knows what it was like in Gotham in the 80s. Like what? It's not a real place.
Is this fact?
What? Fact what? Like Gotham's not a real place? Yeah. Gotham's not a real place.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to leave that to the fans to decide. So, anyway, Arthur heads over to
reality. Like, what do you mean?
No. So, Arthur heads over to a comedy show and laughs at incredibly awkward times, completely ignoring the laughs of others. And we also see that this entire time he is writing notes, ridiculous notes, such as sex jokes are always funny, Which, yeah, I mean, he is kind of right. He's trying to get his material down. I appreciate the grind. I appreciate his workmanship. I appreciate everything he's doing here. Anyway, what really happens in this scene, Roland? Is there anything important right here?
Yeah, this is actually, there's a lot going on here because this really, to me, highlights. I'm going to give you a point. I'm just going to give you a point because I want to talk about this because this really, really highlights his mental instability. Like, it's just so good when he is laughing at the wrong parts of the jokes. Like he's not like the rest of the crowd is laughing at the punchline. And he like doesn't get it. And he's like looking around, and then like the setup, he's like laughing at the setup, which like
that's the funniest part.
Yeah, it's the perfect like.
What's a joke without a setup?
It's the perfect like portrayal of just that awkward like totally out of place like socially and really cool done. And then he goes up on stage right after that. I believe he does his set, which is like. Once again, and this is where the first, I think the first real reference that we thought we saw towards, like this clown alluding towards John Wayne Gacy, is something we both.
Yes, it was on the screen right before because his place is called. Was it this place or was it later?
I think it's this place. I'm pretty sure it's this place.
Okay, it might have been this place.
It's only this is the only comedy, like small comedy theater they show.
So the place is called Pogo's.
Yeah, which they show on the screen at first, which I
when
believe it's Dangerfields in real life. Like I said, I follow a lot of comedians. There's a lot of cool comedians cameos in this movie. A lot of great Brian Callen, Mark Maron. And so it's this like really, it's Rodney Dangerfield's old stand-up comedy place, I believe, in New York City, and so a lot of the comedians recognized it right away. But they changed the name and they put on the back, very well lit, you can see Pogo's is what it's called.
Pogo's, but when we first see it on the screen, there's a man standing over the S, and it just says Pogo, which is. If you guys don't know anything about John Wayne Gacy, he was a serial killer in the fucking when was he arrested? I think it was
early 80s, late 70s, I want to say.
Yes. I think it was. Yeah, okay. So he was arrested in 78. He killed upwards of 30 men, 33 exactly, or about
28 in his crawl space.
26 in his crawl space, 29 on his property in general. A couple of them were like in the backyard or, kind of just tossed around, but there are a lot of allusions to John Wayne Gacy in this movie. First of all, the Joker makeup in this movie,
very similar,
very fucking similar. It has all of the pointed edges that Pogo the Clown's did. It has the exact same Pogo the Clown smile.
Yeah.
And at first, when we first watched this movie, we were looking at it, I was like, hey, are these fucking John Wayne Gacy references?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And then we saw Pogo come up on the screen. It's like, okay, yeah,
it's definitely somebody knew something. Like
that's exactly what I don't know if that's what everyone was going for, but someone on this fucking set.
And there's a bit of a stretch with another theory later in the movie. We could talk about it now. We could talk about it later. But there's one third, I think, like at least allusion to like a child, like child, because that's what he was known for. It was like he had a lot of younger men.
I believe the youngest was 14, if I remember right.
So.
Yeah, they were usually 14 up until... It went from 14 to, I think, about, 20, 23-ish. None of them were, old men whatsoever. Yeah. It was all young kids.
So Pogo's, he gets up on the stage and he tries to tell jokes, but he starts laughing because that's his condition. And it does a really great job, once again, of making you feel really uncomfortable. But that's just regular mental health. That's not, that's not the Joker's origin. There is a Joker origin story where he was actually a comedian named, I think it was one of the Jack Napier origin stories, where he's a comedian that has failed and he becomes a Red Hood to to make money because he didn't do well as a comedian, and then he ends up dying. It's a rip off of that. It's just a direct play on the, I don't remember which story of the Batman Joker origin that was, but it was just a play on his comedian past.
Cool. So point Caleb.
No.
So the girl comes and flirts with Arthur, which is extremely out of place, and then we see Arthur trying to perform to a children's hospital.
Don't write that point down.
Unfortunately, this is interrupted by him dropping his gun, which is actually the scene that me and Roland busted the fuck up laughing in the theater. It was
hilariously terrifying. That is such a terrible scene. That's so hilarious. That he drops his gun in front of the kids. This shit's so funny.
I don't think anyone else in the theater was amused by guns in front of children, but I thought it was pretty fucking hilarious.
And so, of course, that would happen. Of course that's gonna happen to him. And then the way he recovers is so good. He just tells everybody, shh.
He's like, shh. Yeah. That scene's actually really it really makes me fucking laugh, because we were just talking about how in the comedy show, everyone's laughing at the wrong time, and when everyone else was laughing in the theater.
Which one of those little cancer kids gonna got because snitches get stitches. Somebody told on him in that room, and that's just, it was all the.
You don't think it might have been the adults?
Maybe. Guess I went after them kids way too quickly.
Point Caleb. So he gets a call from his boss. I like your face to that reaction. You were like, wait.
I guess there were adults in the room. I guess he could have been responsible for that.
Oh, God. So he gets a call from his boss, who fires him, and he also tells him, he's like, hey, dude, your friend Randall told me that you were trying to buy a gun from him last week. And he's like, Randall told you that? That's his whole takeaway from everything, which is really good, because he felt like Randall trusted him earlier in this movie. He was one of the only guys at work that was really nice to me. He was like, you're my boy, Arthur. And then
I wonder if that's a figment of his imagination. What if the boss never told him that? That'd be cool. He just imagined that this guy turned on him, even if what if the guy was like really trying to be nice to him the whole time, and it's just like the way he perceived it.
Yeah, and then he got the call and was just like, well.
He added that in his own head, and like because he wanted to kill somebody.
It's definitely possible because there's a lot of black and white scenes in this movie where don't entirely know what is happening.
Super spoiler, but the movie, that's kind of how the movie ends. Is like you don't know if the fucking movie even existed or not. Like that's the whole point of the ending of the movie. Spoiler.
Well, spoiler means one less point for Roland. So he's now on the bus minding his own business where he sees 3 men assaulting and tormenting this poor fucking girl on the bus. And she looks at him for like some security or like some help. And he doesn't really do too much. He just starts like laughing awkwardly. And, he's nervous laughing, and he gets approached by the men and then gets the shit beat out of him. The girl kind of leaves at this point. She just kind of takes this opportunity like, all right, well, they're distracted by something else now. And it doesn't last too long. Arthur has this really good idea.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense because all of a sudden he turns into like Boba Fett and can like blast everybody like perfectly.
No,
like,
this
he
scene.
has 6 bullets.
I'm arguing this.
He has 6 bullets in his gun, and he's a perfect shot with every one of those 6 bullets. I think they even had 7 shots. I tried counting.
No, they had full 6. We counted them in theater. We counted full 6, and he did miss one of the shots when one of the guys was running away. But this scene this is another really good mental health scene because we see this whole movie. This isn't the first time we have seen Arthur get the shit beaten out of him. He gets the shit beaten out of him multiple times, and he is the fucking punchline of everyone's joke. He is just the asshole that everyone walks over, that no one gives a shit about. He gets the shit beat out of him again this time, and while he
puts himself in these positions.
He was sitting. He did absolutely nothing. So, anyway, he's getting the shit beat out of him, and he's kind of just taking it. He's lying on the ground, but then something snaps in his head, and we all know, everyone has that fucking breaking point. He gets to that point, he pulls out this gun that he's had for fucking ever, that he got fired over, and he shoots one of the kids,
but
looks
perfectly
over.
In the middle of his forehead, like, while he's on the ground getting the shit kicked out of him. Like, there's no way he could have made that shot.
Dude, these guys are right fucking in front of him. He had point-blank range to shoot them. Of course he's gonna shoot him in the fucking head. If you miss when these guys are fucking on top of you, like, kicking you and shit, you're a terrible shot. You're a terrible fucking shot, because I don't get how you could miss. I really don't. I really fucking don't. So anyway, yeah, he kills them. One of them starts running away, and he has this scene is really well shot and really cool because this dude's like running away, and they kind of do like a cat and mouse thing where he's trying to get off the bus, and Arthur is just like waiting for him perfectly, and when he runs out, he fucking misses one shot at him and kind of toys with him and lets him run away, and then he rocks his shit.
Well, which doesn't make any sense because like where did the girl go? And dude, she just left. This is Gotham. Well, she didn't like get off the train and leave because we saw the train doors open, so she was on the train still, or they just easy. It was a
how do we know the train didn't stop?
Plot device. Because we watched it when it stopped. It was a plot device. Whatever.
It stopped twice.
Whatever. Point rolling. That lady was still on that train somewhere, but they didn't show her.
Well, you know what? Personally, she was just getting like assaulted by some men, so she probably got as far away as possible. So yeah, point Caleb. He heads back to his old job to receive his last check, and he rats out on Randall, and then makes I forgot to punch out joke, and he destroys the time punch. He shits all over Randall right now. He's like, hey, Randall, thanks for being a fat fuck and selling me this gun, you fucking fat fuck. And Randall's like, huh? What'd you say? And he's all dressing like a clown, so I don't really know if you can kind of like, you can't do that. You can't sound big when you're dressing like a clown.
Yeah, they're all like, and it's so funny because like they're clown dress. Like I know it's like an agency for clowns, but why do they have like it's set up like a stripper's like locker room?
Oh, 100%, 100
fucking
percent.
The way they have the little vanity, vanity thing set up, and it just reminds me of like a stripper locker room. Like not that I've been in like too many stripper locker rooms, but I've been in enough to know, you know.
So he fucking spray paints the posted sign that says "Don't forget to smile," and he changes it to "Don't smile." And he fucking heads out. So he's meeting with this counselor chick again at this point in this movie, and she asks a few basic questions, which makes Arthur very angry, to say the least. He's pretty much telling her that she does not listen to anything that he's fucking saying. He has serious issues, and these are just all being ignored by her and by everyone else. That's every point of authority in his life is just ignoring him and letting him fucking rot. So we now pan over. She pretty much tells him that she can't see him anymore. Funding has been cut. She tells him that people just like all the higher ups don't give a shit about people like him, pretty much confirming everything that he just said.
Which really kind of like makes me kind of. I was a really big fan of Batman and the idea of, you know, the billionaire vigilante fighting crime, but now like watching this, I'm like, wait a second, like all you guys had to do is donate some money and start funding mental health, and you guys could have like stopped the Joker before you get the Joker. I'm sure the Penguin was like, you know, some abandoned kid like in an orphanage. Like you, like instead of like punching villains one face at a time, like why don't you guys like donate some money back to your city and like really help like Gotham? Like that seems like be like way.
But the thing is, have you met rich people? Do you know any rich person that's going to do that?
Well, I mean, yeah, actually, yeah.
Name them. Call them up right now. I want an interview.
You can't talk to my friend Bill. You can't talk to my friend Bill. He wouldn't talk to you. Mr. Gates.
Yeah. I was going to say the last name. Cool. Point, Caleb. We see Arthur at a comedy club, and he cannot stop laughing at his whack fucking jokes. And he finally hits a few jokes because he's doing stand-up now. So, you know what, I think... Oh, see, we did move around. This is the pogo scene.
Oh, this is the pogo scene?
This is the pogo scene, so whatever. We're not going to fucking rehash all that. It's pretty much... It's the same comedy club that he was at earlier. I think that's why we got it a little mixed up. Because it is the same club. He's been there a couple times, but he's now doing stand-up. He's doing a bunch of fucking jokes. They're not hitting whatsoever, but then a couple of them hit, which really sparks his confidence. So we see that he's still hanging out with his old neighbor girl and is pretty genuinely happy at this point in the movie. Unfortunately, this changed after dancing with his mother at home, because he finds a letter from his mother to Thomas Wayne, which pretty much reads, "I need your help. Your son and I need your help."
Yeah, which was kind of a poor way of doing this, because like it's done on a letter, and unless you can like pause the screen, you can't really read the letter to see what it says. So they don't really give you enough to know that, you know, it's saying that she's trying to write to Thomas Wayne that it's his father.
If you couldn't tell what was going on right here, you are a genuine idiot.
Yeah, so, yeah, thanks for calling the people idiots, but no, they're not.
I'm speaking to you.
Oh.
I'm speaking directly to you, sir.
It's rude.
Well, here we are. So he gets pissed and he attacks his mother, forcing her to hide in the restroom, and she tells him that it is in fact true, and that she had to hide the relationship to avoid talking from others.
What's that, Jan? You bored with this movie already? Because guess what? So are a lot of people. Where's the bat at, man?
You're going to piss a lot of people off.
What do you mean?
You're going to piss a lot of people off. So Arthur at this point decides that he needs to pay a visit to the Waynes, and he runs into an incredibly young Bruce Wayne, whose attention he gets by performing magic tricks through their very, very prestigious-looking fence. And Arthur asks his name, to which he replies, "I'm Bruce."
Which Bruce Wayne had terrible fashion sense as a kid. This goofy little churdy turtleneck.
Well,
Turtles!
Well, let's be. He's not fucking dressing himself. We know he's not fucking dressing himself.
Which terrible casting for Thomas Wayne and Alfred. By the way, I was really disappointed by who they picked for Thomas Wayne. He's like that. I forget what else he's in. He's usually like a bad guy in movies, so it was like hard to see like Bruce's dad is like, I don't know. It's like, and then the guy they got to play Alfred. I don't know who that jokester was, but
wasn't that the guy? Wasn't that like fucking Iron Man's associate? Dude, like his fucking, that chubby dude that starts banging, Peter's mom? No?
No. You're
Peter
talking about Jon
Parker's-
Favreau?
Yeah.
No, he's not in this movie.
It's not, he looks exactly the fucking same, sounds the same. Same
Thomas
guy.
Wayne? Nah.
No, not Thomas Wayne. Dude that played Alfred.
Oh, no. The dude that played Alfred, some British dude.
Yeah, isn't he fucking British?
No.
No? Okay,
No,
same thing.
you're wrong.
Cool, same shit. Point Caleb. So Arthur gets like real fucking weird and puts his fucking thumbs in his mouth and forces a smile on his face. Like, and I just want to know where his thumbs have been.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I was worried about in this scene.
Oh yeah, he's on all that public transit all the time, dude, and he's not the cleanest looking guy. Yeah, he just gave little Bruce Wayne hepatitis.
100%. And the security guard, fucking Alfred or whatever, that was Alfred, right?
Yeah, that was Alfred. Yeah,
That's
that was
such a
Alfred.
weird Alfred.
Yeah.
I will give you that point. That's a weird fucking
I
Alfred.
get the point for that. You get the point for the creepiness of this whole scene, but yeah, it's
So this fucking Alfred pulls up. He shuts this entire affair down. He's like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get your fingers out of his mouth." And Arthur's like, "Hey, dude, I know about everything." And he's just like, "Dude, fuck off. Like, you're not who you think you are. You don't know what's going on. Your mother's fucking crazy." And Arthur tries to choke him, but ultimately decides to let him be and just kind of runs off.
What's another goofy fucking Joaquin Phoenix runaway? Takes you out of the movie immediately.
No, it does. It doesn't. It does not. I think that was fine because he looked into Bruce. He looked into like Bruce's eyes and he was like, you know what? I don't want to fucking kill this guy in front of this kid, and he moved on. So I respect it a little bit. I respect it. So anyway, he arrives back at home and he sees his mother being wheeled away in an ambulance, and he's just like, oh god, ambulance. And he talks to some cops that tell him that they spoke to his mother, and Arthur believes that they may have caused her stroke.
He accuse them. Do you guys do this? And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
I'll be honest, he's kind of grasping at hairs here, but he also is kind of right because they kind of seem like dickheads.
What are they? They're investigating him because he shot the guys, right? They're investigating because the yuppies he shot.
Something like that. Well, was that it?
Yeah, that's where they're coming questioning him.
Okay.
Because he got caught with a gun at the. They were making because he had the gun at the.
Oh,
hospital.
so it wasn't because he shot the guys. It was because he had the gun at the hospital. Yeah. Because they're not onto that yet.
Well, no, they are. They're like, well, there was a clown. They said one of the witnesses said they saw a clown with shooting, and then
no. Remember, there were a bunch of mixed stories. People were like, I think it was a guy with a mask.
Yeah,
a lot of people said a guy with a mask.
That's why they were investigating a dude who works for a clown agency who got fired for having a gun at a child hospital. I mean,
well, that's just
not the dumbest cops in the world. Like,
that's just coincidence.
That's the first place I would go. Like,
it's kind of like the. Have you heard of the Mayhem story?
Boys. What? The actual
Mayhem, like the Norwegian death metal or black metal band.
Yeah.
Fucking no, not Euronymous. Varg kept burning down churches, and he had like pictures of like burning down churches on his album covers, and the cops were like, I wonder who's doing this.
Not me.
So anyway, while in the hospital room, Arthur is watching TV, and he sees himself on the TV, and he's like, oh shit, that's me! Like, this is fucking awesome. But then he gets absolutely like fucking humiliated because they're like, yeah, look at this fucking idiot up here, and he's like, oh, you absolute dicks.
Which it's so weird because like it's a talk show, but it feels like a modern day talk show where it's like they found a YouTube clip, like this perfect
100%.
like, but it's supposed to be from the 80s, so like that's not how they did TV back then.
This was totally like America's Funniest Home Videos.
But the way it was done, it was like almost like ridiculousness. Like the way he was like just doing YouTube, it's like a modern day like Jimmy Kimmel version, which is that's not how they did the talk shows back in the day.
Yeah, and you're right. This isn't modern day like at all. So I will give you that point. That was a little bit strange, but that's fine. So anyway, he's not too happy about this, and he meets up with Thomas in the bathroom, who tells him that he's adopted, and he followed Thomas somewhere. He followed Thomas Wayne to like some very prestigious event or something.
Yeah, actually, that was a pretty cool. If you're not paying attention, it's actually they're doing a rescreening of Modern Times, which was was Charlie Chaplin's like big hit movie. But it's just a cool little homage. I forgot what there's like some tie-in to. There's some Easter egg because of it too.
Oh, interesting.
But
we don't have anything to back it up.
No, I'm not gonna.
Okay, point Caleb.
Stupid movie, not worth my time. Point Roland.
Okay, point Caleb. So when he's in the bathroom with Thomas, he tells him that Thomas tells Arthur that he's adopted, and her story was all a lie, and he's like crying and shit, and he's just like, I just want warmth and a hug, but you're a fucking asshole, and you're calling my mother crazy, and he's just like, ha 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 ha, that's fine. He's like, Dad, it's me. And then he gets punched in the fucking face, like square in the face by this old ass man.
Because he's being a brat. He's being a complete brat.
He's being a good son, is what he's being. He just wants love. So he now receives some files on his mother, or he's trying to receive files on his mother. He goes over to the what the fuck is this?
It's Arkham Asylum. It's actually Arkham Asylum.
It's not what I was asking, but cool. So he makes small talk with the worker, and the man looks it up, and he's just like, okay, well, it looks like this girl is a little crazy. She lost custody of her son because she's batshit, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like looking down, he's like, wait a sec. This is your mother.
Which this guy's terrible at his job. Like
this guy's very bad at his job.
You shouldn't be just giving away information like that. Or
no, I don't think any of that's legal, but that's fine. He tries to tell him that he can't continue with this, and he sees an opportunity to run, so he swipes the files, and Arthur dips the fuck out of here. And we now see Arthur's mom. She put him through severe negligence as well as like mental and physical head trauma. Shut the fuck up. And he looks off. So he looks off in his apartment, and we see this girl, his neighbor girl, yet again. And this time we're going through his thoughts, and we see that she was never actually there to begin with. She kind of, they had that little initial interaction, reaction, and interaction. And
it's the first little dream sequence, surreal twist that she was never really there.
Pretty much. This is when we see like all of his thoughts unfolding and all of just everything going on. And he now dyes his hair green without bleaching it first. So
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's like this bright green when he's done with it, but like he's just pouring dye all over himself. He's not even like
no, he is.
Hair,
okay, I'm gonna totally give you this one because he's doing a terrible job at dyeing his hair.
And nothing, and then none of his face is stained later in the movie. His like face is like perfectly like clean, like, and yeah. So he just makes a mess in this bathroom, but like next thing he comes out, he's like perfectly the Joker. Actually, this is when the two dudes show up, right? Right after this. The scene where he paints his hair green.
Which two dudes?
Yeah, the big guy and the guy with dwarfism. You like that? I used the right word.
The two Stooges?
Yeah, that's right after the scene, right? Right after he dyes his hair green. Next part is when the two guys come over.
Yeah. Oh, you know why I forgot this? Because when we were watching last night, I fell asleep.
Oh, you know what? Too? No, I'm sorry. Before this, doesn't he kill his mom right before he dyes his hair green, or is that after?
It might be right before.
I think it's right before. Yeah,
it might be right before.
Skip that whole part because and I get why you fell asleep. It's a bit of snooze fest. It's not like most comic book movies. It doesn't carry its weight like the Marvel universe. So yeah, point rolling on that one. You don't let your guard down, bitch. And
well, I let my guard down because I was trying to move my microphone and my snake decided to go inside of it.
That's weird. You shouldn't say that on air.
What?
And so where we're at? Okay, so he killed his mom just by suffocating, which that's kind of a weak way to take out your mom. But
I think that actually, I'm gonna argue that completely because suffocation is fucking personal. Suffocation is personal. It's brutal. You feel every bit of the person dying while you're doing it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and.
It's just a pill, though. If you just relax and you open your mouth,
there's no relaxing to it. Like the thing is, you might feel like this was kind of a lame kill, but the thing is, like they had to push this down for lighten it up a little bit because you can't show a full strangulation scene when we know that he's strangling her and he is taking the life out of her, like she can't fucking breathe. This is like that's a few minute process. Like it's not something that happens like in like 15 seconds like we see on the screen.
Yeah, which they showed, so it's very accurate. Come on.
You don't want to see an accurate depiction of this. You don't want to fucking see a fucking like 7-minute long strangulation scene. Like that's not, no one wants to see that. It's not fun. It's not point, Caleb. So he sits down for the show and well no, actually right before this is what you were talking about. A little quote unquote short guy and the big guy.
So yeah, one of his coworkers come over to console him for the mother that he killed, and he like explains to him like, "Oh yeah, I'm happy she's dead. No worry." And they're like weirded out. Like, they bring over him like a bottle of whiskey, and as they walk in, he proceeds to lock the door with the chain bolt. And he just like has this air of like something's off. Like he's just like. And then the big guy, the guy that sold him the gun, that guy betrayed him, like, started asking him, like, what he was telling the cops, like, making it once again show that, like, he was just selfish and after his, there for his own intentions. Arthur, like, secretly, like, pulled out a blade and in Joker fashion, like, stabs him in the neck, like, without warning, and then stabs him in the eye immediately, and then walks him over to the edge of the wall and just starts bashing his brains in. All while the little dude is in the background, like, freaking out, like, screaming, like, why, Arthur, why? Like, again, we were, when we were watching this in theaters, like, Caleb and I, not laughing, but we were like, oh, like, cool, like, we were, like, getting amped because it was, like, such a cool scene.
Really cool,
like,
really cool scene.
A lady actually got up and was, like, about to walk out and kind of watched the whole thing.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, she got up and, like, it was, like, too much for him. I'm like, dude, this isn't even, like, that.
That was not that bad at all.
And this was like opening weekend, so like I think that like she came in like gonna do that. She was like waiting for her moment to get up. Like there was nothing really.
I don't think she wanted to see the movie. I think she wanted to make it a dramatic exit.
It was kind of weird and out of place, and she kind of just like got up to leave and like, oh, this is getting bad, and then the scene's over really quick, and it's really interesting, it's really captivating. So she stopped. She even make it all. She did eventually make it all the way to the theater, but she stopped and watched like pretty much the rest of the scene. When he like it's all the foreshadowing. Like I started laughing immediately, or like at least like reacting immediately to because I remember him chain locking the bolt door, and I realized that
You realized that halfway through, and you looked at me
immediately. Like I knew that was gonna be play, and of course he walks over and he can't reach it, and so he has to ask Arthur for him to come fucking help him. Oh my god. Like it's funny because even as he's walking by, Arthur fucks with him. Like
he fucks with him, and you totally think that he is going to murder this. He doesn't.
The first time you watch it, you have no idea what the fuck's gonna happen, and and so he can't reach the door, and so Arthur walks over and locks it for him, and then right before he's about to walk up, he closes on him, and then so you think he's gonna do something, and he just kisses him on the top of his head. Oh my god! And then lets him leave.
That scene is honestly fucking incredible.
Yeah,
it's really fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's like the only gory scene in the movie too. It's like really, it is like if you stop and think like.
No, yeah, you're right.
So
that's definitely the gory scene. It's really fucking cool. Point Caleb.
No, it's not. There should be more. There should be more gore. It should be more intense. This is the Joker, man. This isn't no.
This movie wasn't about that. It gave you what you needed.
This is no Topher Grace Venom 3, dude. This is that weak ass Venom. Get that weak ass Venom out of here.
Did you say Topher Grace Venom 3?
Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
This is why you don't get points. So he's wearing full clown attire at this point and is getting ready to be on the Maury show. And Maury's assistant warns him that this guy doesn't know shit about shit and that his clown costume is going to be very offensive since there were just a bunch of clown killings. And then they ask him about it. They're like, hey, so do you, like, what is this? Is this like a joke or something? He's like, I don't know what's going on. They're like, dude, get this guy the fuck out of here. Maury's like, no, it'll be fine. So.
Oh, wait, you skipped over a really, really important part.
What did I skip over?
Okay, so after he kills this guy, which, he kills this guy and he gets blood everywhere. And so that means he had to completely redo his makeup and he had to clean off his hair. So, which they don't really portray that very well. And anyways, the big scene that everybody liked is when he's walking down the stairs listening to Gary Glitter. That was to me the other reference like that towards the pedophilia, because I don't know if you guys know Gary Glitter's that da 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 hey da 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 stupid, like you hear the Jock Jam song. Gary Glitter was though caught like having like just archives and gigabytes and gigabytes of like child pornography like on a computer. Like he got his computer cleaned out by Best Buy or something, and like it turned out
that what happened?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, and he had deleted everything, but like that's not good enough. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I'm pretty sure that's how he got busted with that, but he had a bunch of child pornography, so it's really weird that they used this for the scene, but it works perfectly. Like it really does.
Like we said, it's another. At least we feel like it's another allusion to the John Wayne Gacy theory.
Because like that's a very known fact that Gary Glitter was a pedophile, and it's a weird song to kind of perpetuate.
It's a very questionable song, but it does fit for the movie that they're.
So on his way down the steps, the two cops from earlier before come and question him. They just yell him at the top of the stairs, and then Arthur just books it, like totally breaks like the scene, and they just like take off from him. And he gets nailed by a taxi cab. This is something that bugs me, and it's such a well paid attention to movie, but he gets nailed by this taxi cab, falls on this wet street, and then gets up immediately in a nice dry clean suit. Like it's like you guys couldn't like put like some tire marks on the back of this motherfucker or something. Like you couldn't make it look like he at least hit that puddle that he landed in the middle of the street. So not very continuous. And then another thing, so they follow him up to the train station, right?
Well, if they mess up that suit, they can't use it later, so.
I know, that's why I'm like, point Rolling, yeah.
Point Caleb.
No, point
Anyways, Caleb, you don't want to waste
materials. So they get up to the train.
That's like $100 of the budget right there.
Arthur barely makes it in time and gets into the train, and then all of a sudden the cops like bang on the door and they're like, open up, we gotta get, and then the doors automatically open for these guys. Like that would never happen. Like that's not how trains work. The doors don't reopen once they close. Like that thing is going off. Like I don't know why they.
No, the conductor heard him and opened the door for him.
Oh yeah, the conductor inside like knew there were cops. These dudes that were just dressed in normal.
No, the cops have walkie-talkies that the conductors also have in case of emergency.
That is a lie. They didn't have walkie-talkies in 81 Gotham. Next, point Rolling.
No, they definitely did.
Nope.
Walkie-talkies have been around for. Are you telling me they didn't have walkie-talkies in 81?
No, they didn't have Radio Shacks then yet. Not in Gotham.
All right. So he sits down for the show, and Maury asks him if he has any jokes. To which he pulls out his little book, and they're like, "Oh, do you have a book? You have this written down?" He's like, "Yeah." And he looks completely serious, and he tells a knock-knock joke. They're like, really? Like, this is what you're going for? He's like, and I repeat myself. Knock. Knock. So they're like, okay, they play with it. Who's there? Your son was hit by a drunk driver. He's dead.
I think we laughed in the theater at that part too. Nobody else laughed.
I laughed my fucking ass off at that part.
Our ass off in the theater at that one. Which, another. So this movie is a direct rip off of two other movies. I guess it's a lot of people are pointing out that has a very much feel of like Taxi Driver and the idea of like just being pushed to the limit. And then also there's this another Martin Scorsese movie called what is it, the King of Comedy, I believe, where it's like Robert De Niro plays a guy that's very similar to Arthur Fleck, who's like obsessed with, I think it's like the Tonight Show like host, and then holds him hostage so he gets on the Tonight Show, and then when he gets on he actually kills it, and then he ends up becoming like a Tonight Show host, and like it's just like a weird twist. So this is like has that same exact feel. Robert De Niro's, and it's a weird like play into that. But also there's a scene very similar to this in a Batman story where the Joker is being interviewed just like this by like a late night talk show host, and he ends up, if you guys haven't seen, I mean it's not crazy over the top the way they do it, but he ends up killing the entire audience, which would have been kind of cool to see instead of what they do here. It would have been really cool to see him just take that. Would have been like impressive.
That would have been very interesting.
I don't know how they would have been able to pull that off, but if they could have, that would have been way cooler than what they did here, because it wasn't very realistic.
I actually think this whole scene, everything that happens here is actually really fucking incredible. The feeling, just the way it was shot, all of it. I don't know, like the psychology behind it is really fucking cool too. So everyone's fucking like freaking out at this point because he says that he's been feeling down ever since he killed the 3 men on the subway. So the whole audience is like, what the fuck? Like this, I don't know if this is a joke anymore. And Maury's like, hey, why should I believe this? He's like, I have nothing to lose. My life's a comedy, so like, why the fuck not? And he gets very serious about the fact that if he died, everyone around would just like, walk over his body like they do every single day, which is what we alluded to earlier in the movie with his little book and whatnot. And Maury scolds him for the riots that he started and the people that have died because of him. He agrees and he screams with tons of passion and shoots Maury in the fucking head with like no hesitation. Really fast scene. Like you don't know what he's about to do. He just pulls out a gun, pop, fucking murders him.
They could have made it a little bit more realistic, I think. But
in what sense?
I don't know. That's not. I've seen movies do better at portraying being blasted in the head like that. But okay, so that's not intense. I think it could have been a little more realistic, but
I feel like it was pretty quality.
And maybe he could have killed the audience too. So
maybe, but he gets back up and he shoots the dead body again for good measure, which is also I fucking loved it. Like this guy's already fucking dead. He blew his fucking brains out. He's dead.
He's that little goofy dance again.
Yeah, he does his little dance and he looks at him. He's just like pop, gives him another one right in the fucking chest just for good measure. So he heads up to the camera to thank his audience, but we get a little like standby screen that zooms out and plays like some elevator music. And it shows like tons of fucking newscasters talking about what just happened. They're like, hey, Maury Franklin was just fucking killed by the Joker, like on the show, or this guy called himself the Joker. And he fucking like, they play clips of the Joker's time on the show. And Arthur gets put into the back of a cop car. So we know that he didn't really try to escape or anything. He's just kind of chilling.
And they come around the corner with a White Room by Cream in a pretty cool shot behind the cop car, actually.
It's a really cool shot, and he's just looking outside the window. He's smiling at everything that's going on. The cops start scolding him. They're like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is all because of you. He's like, I know. Isn't it beautiful? And then the fucking car gets hit on, like, both fucking like, both sides, like, T-bone on both fucking sides.
Yeah, which, like, seems to have killed the cops, but Arthur's just fine. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Well, the cars hit in the front of the police car. They didn't hit the back. So I mean, both the cops were in the front, and they got fucking the full extent of it.
So he gets pulled out the car like some sort of chaotic messiah and thrown on the cop car, which this movie is promoting violence. I don't like that. That's not good.
God.
That's not good for society.
So we see the Wayne family leaving the movie theater, and they get approached by a man in the clown mask who shoots both of Bruce's parents. And at this time, we see Joker waking up from the previous accident, and he gets up, he does a little dance.
So this part that got you skipped over the part that got me. Now anybody who actually listened to this entire podcast and got to this point, I actually have a very good point here, and this is why this isn't actually could never have a sequel or be a Batman movie, because the Joker causing the chaos that takes the Batman's parents totally messes with the mythos of how the Batman work, because like it was idea of like just some random crime happening to some random people that turned out to be Bruce Wayne's parents. Like he would have had a very specific motive. Like, he's the greatest detective of all time. He would have found out it was Arthur Fleck immediately, and he would have never become. He would have just been like some crazy dude, like after to kill this very specific person, and he would like accomplish it. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't have this great dynamic of like the Joker being some mysterious entity to Batman. Like, he totally like he from start to finish, like he would be after like the Joker or after like people dressed in clown masks or anything. So it kind of messes up the origin story for Batman. Nice little tie-in. I get what they're trying to do, but that's like what shows like, yeah, they just use the IP to kind of like push this movie. Like, that's a little fan service, like little hand job right there. Like, I saw through it the whole time though. It doesn't make sense in the actual Batman world, but I guess it's fine for this Elseworld story.
Different strokes. So
Hand
the entire
jobs.
crowd cheers him on as he grabs some blood from his mouth, and he paints a huge old pogo smile on his face where his makeup is washed off. And the next thing we see is the Joker laughing and smoking a cigarette in a white gown. He's in handcuffs and laughing immensely, and the nurse chick asks him what's so funny, and he's like, I don't know.
You wouldn't get
He's like, it's just a joke. And we see like playing in his head, he sees Bruce Wayne's parents dead in front of him, and he's just standing there staring at them. He looks back at her, and he's just like, yeah, like what Roland said, like he's like, you wouldn't get the joke.
Yeah, which is an allusion to like this whole story we just sat through and watched was just a figment of this guy's imagination. Like, this never actually even happened. It's just another dream sequence, another dream movie, and like he was just coming up with a way for Batman to be created in his head. Like, just another failed screenwriter.
And why is he in handcuffs?
Because he's a crazy guy. He'd already been in trouble before.
If he was a crazy guy, he wouldn't be in handcuffs sitting at this desk being questioned. He would be in a room, maybe in like some padding or something.
Wait, you didn't notice it's the same? It's the same lady. It's the same lady.
No, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Nah, I was lying. It's not the same lady. You're
I actually thought it was.
You're racist.
Was it not?
I don't know.
I actually thought it might have been.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure.
I know enough to know that I don't know, but you didn't know that.
I thought it might have been, so I actually legit thought it was, so I thought you just picked up on that and I didn't research it.
Well, I thought the same thing. That's how I knew how to play that hand.
Awesome, perfect. So, yeah, I
wonder if it is.
I don't know. I'm not gonna go with your ending just because I don't think he would be in handcuffs if that was the case. Right. If none of that actually happened, I think that this did happen and he is recollecting on something that he found out later. I feel like he saw the news that Thomas Wayne was dead. I don't think that he was like thinking about that like, oh, awesome, Bruce is sitting there staring at his parents. I think it was more like he was like, good, Thomas Wayne is fucking dead. That's the joke.
Nah.
Yep. Nah. Okay, point Roland. So he looks back at her and is just like, yeah, you wouldn't get this. And the last thing we see is him merrily skipping out of the room with blood-soaked feet as he gets chased around the hospital.
It's like you could have ended him with like, you could have just ended him with him doing the smile on his face on the cop car. Like, you didn't have to give me like the Ryan Johnson make you think kind of ending. Like, it would have been sick if they would, when he spreads the blood on his face, he could just went to back and just put credits on there. That was like sick. That would have been cool. And then
that would have been a really cool ending. But I'm still fine with what they gave me. I don't have any problems with it.
Yeah, point Roland.
So that's the end of the movie. Roland, what do you actually think about this movie?
It was okay. I'm just kidding. This movie is awesome. It was hard to do this. It was, I don't know. We're gonna have to mix things up a little bit because we're
still, guys. I know that this episode's probably a little rough, and we're still trying to figure out our format for this.
There's maybe two of you still listening, but I thank you too.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very handsome.
Thank you,
and beautiful.
2 people that are here.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. But we'll get the kinks worked out because like it was a great movie.
It's our second fucking episode. Like, we'll get this eventually.
The way it's shot,
don't worry about it.
If it's not a cool, well-placed song, it's those creepy, very slasher filmy, violin detuned like sounds. It's the atmosphere is just terrific. The city, Gotham, whether it really sticks in your face as like either Chicago or New York. It's hard not to see it that way, and so you kind of are torn in this like back and forth. Is this real world? Is this not real world? Oh, I forgot it's not real. Like, forgot it's not really Joker. I forget. You're constantly pulled left and right, all while not being able to take your eyes off Joaquin Phoenix. It's an awesome movie, man. It's gonna be a contender for sure. Like in as far as like classics and And there's no comparison to Dark Knight. You're stupid if
No.
you're trying to. There's no comparison to the first to Batman, the first Batman. Like there's not.
And honestly, we said this.
You can compare it to Suicide Squad because that shit was whack. But other than that, there's no. It's a different
honestly,
Joker.
there's like no comparison to, like we said earlier, like to Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
There's no fucking comparison either.
Yeah,
They're
it's
both
not- it's a
great
different-
Jokers, but they're both very, very different Jokers. Like in every fucking sense
I'm
of
mad
the
to
word.
that movie because I watched it again recently, and it's a movie I love. But goddamn, there's a lot of plot holes in that movie too. That movie, like, this movie holds up so well. This movie's gonna, and that movie always will too. Like these both versions of this Joker is like, it's so funny how the Joker fucking is carrying. Like it's such a weird character that one has always made like that actor or like the actors that have portrayed the Joker like kind of go a little nutso a little bit. Like it's weird that it has that, and it's weird that it's such an easy character to make people come and watch. Like it's just nobody asked for this fucking movie. Nobody asked for this movie. Why? We just had like 4 Joker movies like in a row. Like what? Nobody asked for this movie, and like
You're not wrong.
And he has a couple of comics out right now. Like I forget the Batman Who Laughs. Like there's some he's always been relevant and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like nobody asked for this movie and yet it's like number 2.
It's here.
Like,
it made
huge.
almost $1 billion fucking dollars.
Crazy.
It's gonna hit $1 billion.
It's awesome. I'll watch it again. Like I'll end up watching it again. I'm sure one of these days soon. I've watched it twice and I'm sure I'm gonna put it on. It's an awesome movie, man.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't have any complaints with that. So, guys, this was our second fucking episode.
11 to 26.
God,
You won this one. Okay, so it's 11 to 26 on this score. But yeah, that was a hard one to do. Thank you guys for
definitely a hard one to do. We don't know for sure. We're still working out the kinks of this. Are we even gonna do the debate on like every episode? We'll see. We're gonna see how
I
this all
think so.
goes.
It's what the people want, so I want to give them what they want. So.
Yeah, it's what the 2 people want.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks,
So,
guys.
if you guys want to email us, you can email us at floorpopcorn@yahoo.com. If you want to find us on Instagram, we're at floorpopcornpod. If you want to listen to my other podcast, it's at Horror Soup Podcast on Instagram. You can find it streaming anywhere, Horror Soup. And that's pretty much it. I am Caleb. This was a movie.
I'm a Joker. I'm a Joker.
I'm a midnight Joker.
Joker.